So once I made a conscious decision to change my energy, then everything about my approach changed. And I feel like so did theirs. So now, instead of feeling cringeful when you see a cop car, or maybe they get behind you driving and be like, what do they want now? I'm like, hey, how you doing? I just want to tell you thank you. I appreciate what you do. And not like, I'm not nobody's bootlicker by far. A genuine appreciation for serving and protecting that I appreciate, that I was ignorant about, but now I know more about it. So now I can, thank you wholeheartedly instead of judging you, predicate off of something I don't even know about. And when my energy shifted and changed, and I could feel it, because energy, man, you can feel it. When my energy shifted, when I put out, it changed what they was giving me back.
What if this is all just a dream?
So my name is Brent Billingsley, and so I'm a country boy from New Miami, Ohio, spelled that O-H-I-I something, I don't know. We do that in New Miami. And I can color pretty good. But my superpower is I connect youth and communities artistically. I believe that anybody who has a talent or a gift or ability is charged with adding salt back to the earth. So one thing that I have chosen to do is do just that. So this project I'm doing that's currently at the Freedom Center through the Truth and Inspiration Showcase, shout out to ArtsWave, let's go, is I'm listening. And what I'm listening is, it is a program that was once a project that ArtsWave funded. Let's come on, Arts, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. So it was a project, and we did a huge 16 by 20 foot piece with law enforcement and with youth, 5 different districts over 5 months, every Saturday, 9 and 6 hours every Saturday. It was intense. And what I learned during that time was that officers are people too. And I just figured that out because I didn't think that 2 years ago. And this project, I'm Listening Blue All Day, is a result of that project turned to a Schedule E program at Woodward. At Woodward, they were having some challenges, to say the least, with law enforcement and young people. And I know that if you're present and you're consistent, then things get better. If you focus on some of the common denominators, which is we both like extra cheese on our pizza because you're breaking bread. And then all the conversations that happens during this time frame that we're together are just human conversations. And you get to know people. You get to know that they have children and that they are fearful of what they do. And that you get to know that youth have siblings or that they don't eat all the time. So you humanize each other, and then you're consistent with your time you spend with each other, and that changes the narrative. I work in psychiatry also at Children's Hospital. Shout out Children's Hospital. And I'm a behavioral specialist. So I work with youth who are angry, who are aggressive, and who are mentally ill. And I am in charge of keeping them safe. I'm in charge of protecting and serving them. So I juxtapose that to law enforcement. Well, I started a couple of years ago. In the same way that my safety is my first concern, I see that theirs too. Now, but my approach from a personal standpoint, as I have a very, very good record when it comes to keeping kids safe, because at the end of the day, the last thing that you should have to do is restrain a kid, but it happens because they're hurting themselves or they're hurting somebody else. I rarely have to do that because in the beginning, I found out that if I spend more time with them, if I'm in their room sitting on the floor watching anime, if I sit down while they're eating and I said, hey, what are you eating? and we have a conversation, then they start to trust me. And they start to care about me. So then even when they're in crisis, they'll listen to me. And I said, well, that's what's missing. Because I'm at work and kids are getting restrained. I walk in and they'll just stop. Oh, Mr. B's here. I'm going to stop now. It's because I've taken the time to build a relationship. And once I found out that Eddie Hawkins was an officer that I did not know, that I not believe, as I saw children flocking to him, I said, I'm going to start this relationship with this man right here. And when I started that, then I met his colleagues. And I met all these other police in these other districts. And I made sure that I created safe spaces for us and kids to get together and do things. And it was, I would say this, I don't care what we do. We try to make it fun. And usually it is. I don't try to give kids homework. It's usually artistic or it's poetic. And then we eat and they love that. But it's the consistency. It's the presence. And then it's the empathy that the cops can show. And not just that, I bring my team with me. And my team consists of social workers, artists, behavioral specialists, speech therapists. So I bring clinical professionals to the setting because they know what to do. They are aware of mental health issues. They're aware of high acuity situations. And my artists know how to spill paint and make it look pretty. So what I've done is I've created this program where I feel like if we're good at it, and we are, holla at your boy, then change will happen in a positive way. So we are at the Freedom Center, and I am a Black and brown artist recipient. And this is my third year. ArtsWave, so I work at Children's Hospital, and I've been there for 10 years. And I was feeling like at the hospital, I was doing a lot that I wasn't being compensated for, to be honest with you. So I was proposing things. I said, hey, I'm doing this. How about we start this new thing and then I can do it? So they did that for me once. So I created a position that I filled it. Check that out. But then I said, well, I'm doing this other stuff too. And it was a lot of red tape. I, typed some things up. My manager supported me, but it didn't happen. So I tried that like 2 or 3 times. So I said, you know what? I'm barking up the wrong tree. And I think I'm looking for a blessing in the wrong place. Because I love what I do there. And I didn't want to stop doing that. I just wanted, the position that I feel like I was already doing. But for whatever reason, that was not available. So ArtsWave, who I not really even heard of. Because again, I'm from Hamilton. I'm from New Miami. So, but I knew artists. I knew Copage. I knew Brandon Hawkins, Andy Roof, Cedric Michael Cox, G. Horton, some heavy hitters who I've been hanging with. And these guys are like professional artists. I'm like, wow, man, y'all get to paint for a living? I said, I still got to go to work. So I applied for the grant through ArtsWave. I said, if I get this grant, I'm going to start my own company if I get this grant through ArtsWave. And then I got it. Not only did I get it, but I heard through the grapevine that my proposal was like the top one for the votes. So ArtsWave essentially launched my company, because I've always been an artist. I was born like that. But walking in purpose, they allowed me the funding and the space to be creative, and then to have the audacity to step outside of financial security for the ambiguity of art and therapeutic artistic engagement. So I took hold of that, and I haven't looked back since. So ArtsWave is like high on my Christmas list. So I'm still at Children's, and I get asked this all the time, as I am quite busy. When are you leaving Children's? And my answer is, man, when you're purpose-driven to youth, Children's Hospital is a beautiful place to sow seeds. and they have fields, a place where you can plant. And I actually love what I do there. So I'm not leaving because I still have things to finish. And I don't feel led to leave there yet. And they support me as well. So at Children's, recently, I was offered a position as artist. So at Children's Hospital, I have what's called dual classification now, and that has happened recently, where I'm a behavioral specialist / medical artist. So I actually do projects for them from an artistic standpoint as well. So I believe they recognized, something that was happening with me, and they said, hey, we want some of that too. So I'm there. But in psychiatry, I love what I do. There's the smiles on the faces is payment enough for me. Most of the time. Now I like getting paid, though. Don't get me wrong, but I get my payment in smiles most of the time, and that's plenty. That's plenty. So my installation this year for the Truth and Healing Showcase is a continuation of the I'm Listening project, which has become a program. This one in particular is called I'm Listening Blue All Day, as we have a Schedule E program at Woodward High School, the Bulldogs, and they're blue. Every piece that's inside. So we have these self-contained shadow boxes, which are to represent lockers. And inside every shadow box, there is an item. And the item is a narrative from birth to graduation. The first one is a baby blanket. The last one is a graduation cap. And in all the boxes, there is something. There is a doll. There are football cleats. There are bow ties and corsages for the prom. So our goal, and then behind the shadow boxes, the back walls, are newspaper articles, mostly from Cincinnati Enquirer, from 2003 until now. Because what we wanted to do with that was we wanted to tell a story of a Woodward kid. And more specifically, Tayshawn is our subject matter for this one. So we got pictures of him when he was a baby, all the way till he graduated. And those are inside the lockers as well. He was a kid that the first day of the program when he interviewed, he had his hood on, he said about 3 words, and he went back to the back of the classroom and put his hood back on. Didn't come out and do anything with us. About 3-4 weeks. The next thing you know, he was at the table. Next thing you know, he was talking. Next thing you know, he didn't stop talking. So then I hired him to work for my company. And now he's downstairs right now, engaging, because we engage here as well. So this is what we do. You go into the situation, we're there, officers are there, you meet a young person who is shy, who appeared to have a chip on his shoulder, but that wasn't the case. You just had to get to know who they were. And I think that something like that happens where appearances are deceiving. And if I was to look at him with eyes of ignorance, I'm saying, oh man, he's probably got something on him. He looks like he's high, his hood is on, but no, this is who he is. And as I spent more time with him, he wants to be this entrepreneur. He wants to have his own construction company. So I said, let me help you with that, because I have people who have that. And let me help you with just getting to know people. Let me help you with your elevator pitch. Let me help you with your rhetoric. Let me help you, get into college if you want to do that. So this program, along with other things, has allowed us to build relationships and add salt back to the earth where it belongs. And, it's a couple things, College Boy, let's go. So part of our piece too is we spelled freedom. We have probably 1,000 pictures. I'm big into pictures that we took over the course of the project of officers and youth. And then we had to decide, and we had them printed on metal. And we said, we want to spell something out. And we could have spelled, we're blue. I said, no, let's spell out freedom. As we're at the Freedom Center. And to me, it's heavily indicative of the fact that I was set free from mental bondage of galvanizing a culture and putting them in a box and then putting it in the back. And through this program, I feel like a lot of kids are being set free because we're introducing them to something different. And it's healthy, it's healing, it's educational. So we have that, and then we also have a short film that's breaking down the beginning of the program, me and Officer Hawkins, and what some of the game plans are, because we're just getting started. So this is just like the tip of the iceberg. The I'm Listening project was inspired by my epiphany to walk in purpose more. It's a lot of people are closed-minded and as open-minded as I thought I was closed off to that. So much where, especially with law enforcement, for me, if I was in a store, this is 2 years ago, it's not like this, if I was in a store or if I was walking in the store, if I saw a police officer, I would walk out. If I saw them walking in, I would go to a different store. I had so much negative energy that I projected towards law enforcement. And I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so NWA didn't help out that much with the music and the culture. It's like us against them, and that's just the way I was raised. I believed it, and I subscribed to it. But the more I listened to youth, and the more I worked in the community, I felt like I'm missing something. I'm missing a big opportunity, and I need to do something about that. And when I met Officer Hawkins, prior to me knowing that he was the officer. Now, granted, this happened when I just thought he was some brother at the park kicking it with the children. I'm like, oh, this dude's like the same age as me. I need to get to meet this brother because, he's got a lot of energy. And they said, oh, yeah, that's off. I said, officer. I said, well, y'all must have that mistaken. There's no way he's a cop. That's exactly what he is. And he loves what he does, and he does it well. So I said, okay. If that's a cop, then I'm falling short of potential in myself. And I don't want to feel like that. So I reached out, so did he. And, and I developed a program. I said, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to do this. And he says, let's go, let's do it. And not just him. I reached out to the 5 districts in Cincinnati. So he was just one of the districts. I reached out to a plethora of districts. So I met a lot of officers during that time. And, I'm inspired by making things better. I'm not big on trying to fix stuff. Because when you try to fix stuff and you mess up, then it's your fault. And I hear that a lot. Parents, well, you're not fixing my kid. I'm like, well, I can't do that anyway. What I can do is give you the resources, and I can give you the ability to be able to help fix yourself. So for me, it's not that I'm trying to fix anything, but I'm trying to make people aware of circumstances, resources, and opportunities. If you take advantage of those, then things will get better. And that's my soapbox is, let's just try to make it better. I'm not trying to fix it, but we can make it better. So that is what inspires me. Let's make it better. And I feel like you can win more people over with love than you can anything else. So once I made a conscious decision to change my energy, then everything about my approach changed. And I feel like so did theirs. So now, instead of feeling cringeful when you see a cop car, or maybe they get behind you, you're driving, but like, what do they want now? I'm like, hey, how you doing? I just want to tell you thank you. I appreciate what you do. And not like I'm not nobody's bootlicker by far. A genuine appreciation for serving and protecting that I appreciate, that I was ignorant about, but now I know more about it. So now I can, thank you wholeheartedly instead of judging you, predicate off of something I don't even know about. And when my energy shifted and changed, and I could feel it, because energy, man, you can feel it. When my energy shifted, when I put out, it changed what they was giving me back. So what's the response? I really don't know because I don't pay attention. I don't have cable and I don't care. So I walk in purpose. And you have to have a mindset of, this is what God has got for me. And no matter what, you're going to have haters anyway. But start doing something positive and watch your haters come in droves, right? So to me, if I'm walking in purpose, purpose is the best life insurance that you could ever have is purpose. I should put that on a t-shirt. So if I'm walking in purpose, I'm not looking for a strong embrace from people. I'm just looking to keep walking in purpose. I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing because I know within myself it's the right thing to do. And that's enough for me. So people are going to say a lot. The haters are going to hate. And I get those phone calls. And I get, quote unquote friends of mine, hey man, they're talking. And I've never asked who they are because I don't care. But I will say, well, you know what? Let me give they something to talk about. So I said, you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm going to give they something to keep them up at night. How about that? I always say that there's 3 sides to every story, right? It's your side, it's their side, then there's the truth. And it's a vantage point. So one artist will see a piece and will say that is a sunrise, and one artist will see the piece and say that is a sunset. And who's right? So my truth belongs to me. And in my truth, I think that love is greater than. So fill in the blank in, wherever you want to fill the blank in with that. What I love about art and thought processes and mindsets is that it is a way to introduce ideals without offending. Sometimes, because you can always offend somebody. And when artists usually have their aha moments and they're chiseling at a statue or nowadays they're telling AI to do it for them or whatever the medium, I'm not hating on nobody's medium, whatever your medium process is, to me it's the journey. It's the journey that defines you. It's the losses and the heartbreak. It's the ones who leave. It's the ones you strengthen that remain. Because they will leave. And the heat will come and the sweat will pour and your brakes will go out and the ones you thought would soar with you will be grounded. And then you'll be wondering where everybody go. And sometimes it's just you and your purpose. And do you have within you to keep going? But like I said, purpose is the best insurance you could ever have. Because then your medium or your epiphanies, when you're stuck with those, is that enough? And I think that when the mail comes or the bricks fly through windows and people are telling you to stop, because maybe they've been offended or maybe they don't understand. Can you keep going? When people are envious because you've done this shorter and you have more, because that happens too. When people are wondering, why are you getting this money numerous times? Because that happens too. And I tell people, I says, if you add it up, it's really not that much money. Because follow me for a week and see what I do for free. follow me. I'm at 5 different places a week. 3 of them are free. So if you really want to know why I'm so blessed and see how much I sow, then you'll find out why. Some people want something for nothing. They have no idea the back end work, the sleepless nights, the unpaid opportunities that you have to go through to get a little bit of recognition. And we don't do this for the recognition, we do this for the smiles. But when recognition comes and the paychecks come, I'll take that too. But it is definitely the inspiration, and then the artist showcase and seeing everybody's work and seeing the different variations of people's perspective and vantage point. It's a beautiful thing. I love when I see pieces that are polar opposites of mine, because I'm like, you're entitled to how you feel. And I refuse to argue with somebody about how they feel, because that's your truth and you can have that. And I wouldn't really care what it was. I say, hey, if that's your truth, then, because it takes 2 people to argue. If you don't do that, then there can't be an argument, right? So you give people their peace of mind, what they've created, just like you can have yours, if that makes sense at all. What I would want people listening to know from me and what I do and who I am, that for a long time I chased money. And I think a lot of people do. But when I started chasing purpose, then opportunity and money started chasing me. And I think that when you walk in your gifts, and this is what I tell people too, is that be mindful of your gifts and your desires, because a lot of people go in America, I know ain't got no business singing. But the gift that you got, the thing that you can do inherently without even trying, if you can cultivate that and you can master that, then you'll never work a day in your life. So do that and stop trying to sing and you can't sing. So you can go to my website, Cincy Art, CINCYARTE, cincyart.com, and just scroll the website. I'm also at the Freedom Center every 3rd and 5th Sunday for the rest of the year. So we are at the Freedom Center. So not only am I in the showcase here on the 2nd floor today, and then on the 30th of this month also, we are here engaging the patrons. And what I love about what we do is that the Freedom Center, for some people, it's a rough hustle because it's real. And when you put truth in somebody's face, it's hard to deal with. So what I think we do is we kind of soften the blow of what truth can do to people. And instead of you coming out of this #1 historical museum in the country feeling a certain kind of way, then maybe we can have you feel a little bit more at ease because you've just created something spectacular. So we're here. Check out the website again, cincyart.com, CINCYARTE.com, and come and holler at your boy.